Here we go. A man of culture. I told you there's pulp in this coconut water, and you like it. Do you like pulp?
Yeah, I do. I took a sip, and it was quite pulpy, but...
Wait till you get to the bottom.
The bottom's all pulp, baby.
You warned me, and I still wasn't expecting that level of pulp. But it's good, man, because it's just like coconut meat, so...
I'm team pulp, dude. It's,
Yeah, orange juice without pulp, dude.
it's like if I want a snack, I can have like a giant bag of chips, or I can have a couple little bits of coconut. And then move on with my day.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, man. It's been quite a while, and I got to meet Brett for the first time.
Hey.
How are you guys liking each other?
You seem like a good dude.
Yeah, likewise,
Yeah.
man. No, it's been great. We had a little chat before filming, and, got to know each other a little bit. And...
I was saying, man, like, you're a big dude. I was saying you should play rugby or something. Like, I'm glad that the internet exists and we're in the modern age, because if we were in the medieval times, you'd be, like, killing me in Phil. Like, quite easily, dude. Like, wearing one of us as a punching glove to, like, kill the other one, dude. We wouldn't stand a chance.
You'd be wearing like a necklace of my bones to intimidate your enemies.
Like, where'd you get those chicken bones?
Um,
So this is good. This is good. I feel safe.
Chills is here
because
to
you're on our
protect.
side. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
You are in such a unique position, because it's like, I don't know how many people are out there. It's like, what do you do for work? And it's like, oh, like, I make lists. And like, of course, it's like so much more work, so much more to it than that. But that's such an interesting niche. Like,
Yeah, and what's funny is I don't tell people at all what I do for a living. I carry these little facades where, like, I'm a university student or
You're
I'm
lying.
working. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like telling people what I do for a living. I don't know. It's like in my head, I worry about being like judged differently because if I approach an individual and I'm like, I'm a YouTuber. Like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, but I'm a YouTuber with like millions of subscribers. Then I just come off as like a real like arrogant jerk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
having
can't
to qualify
really.
that kind of backfires too, right?
Yeah. So I really don't tell people about it, and then I have to carry these stories on and kind of remember what I've told certain people. So I used to. There was a 24-hour dim sum place when I was living in Calgary, and I would eat there a lot because I work a lot. I do a lot of my work at night. Like, I'm a bit of a night owl, and so I told them that I was a computer science student and I'm always up late studying. So then, as the years progressed, they're like, oh, are you graduating? Like, how are your classes? And then one of the ladies like, oh, like, do you go to UFC? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, my daughter's now going to UFC. She's in computer science. Like, maybe I can like put you guys in contact with each other.
the student
like,
double life catches up.
It's gonna be like 10 years later, you're still getting your degree and shit. Like,
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny because then, when I look back, when I started Top 15s, I was just about to turn 16 years old. So, I was a real youngin', and
You were at 15, dude.
Yeah.
You were the top 15.
yeah. And then like I had gotten my first video with like over 1 million views. I was still in high school.
Damn.
And it was once that started happening, I really wanted to pursue this, and I think that was always my goal, was I wanted to be a YouTuber. But it's like I was the kid in high school that was like telling my classmates, like, one day I'm gonna be a successful YouTuber, like, you'll see. And like even when I was about to graduate, like my mom wanted me to start like applying for university, and like I was just so dead set, like I was just gonna do this YouTube thing, and I wanted it so badly to be successful. And even when I graduated and like, I'm going up and getting my certificate, and it's like, oh, like so-and-so is pursuing like a law degree at this university. And I had them say like, like Dylan's pursuing a YouTube career. And I just think back now how depressing that would have been if this actually didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I really wonder, and I always find that funny, like, people who I knew prior to this, like, like has their opinions of me kind of shifted, because I feel like growing up I had a reputation of just being like a real sort of loner. I never went to school. I absolutely despised school. You know, somebody who wasn't like ever like the popular kid, right? And I was somebody who grew up almost despising social media, and now it's like my full-time job. I find it just really ironic in a way, but nevertheless, it's been a pretty crazy ride, and I feel very grateful to be here.
There's so much to unpack there. The first thing is like I identify so much with your struggle of like telling people you're a YouTuber, because it's like either it's one of two things people will assume, like when you say you're a YouTuber, like one, you have no fucking job and you live in your mom's basement, or two, you're like you're a caked up douchebag.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the two, and like obviously mostly people assume it's the mom's basement thing, but then when I'm like no, but it's actually like successful, they're like, oh, so you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like I'm cool, dude. Like,
Yeah, like I'm just
a guy.
trying to live a life, like, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like the YouTuber, it's such a weird word. There's so many different facets to that, man.
It's like all my rap homies say, when somebody asks them like what do they do, they always say like they don't want to say like they rap, because it's the same shit. Like
Yeah.
you're either like a douchebag that made it or a douchebag that didn't, and so they'll be like, I'm a musician, and then the follow-up question is always, what do you play? And they're like,
I talk about bitches mostly.
I play my mouth.
What's even better is when a rapper like identifies as a poet, like they talk I'm a poet.
I'm a poet over beats, yo.
Shut the fuck up, dude. So what is the main reason you don't want to tell people you're a YouTuber? Is it like for privacy reasons, or is it more of kind of what we were talking about right now?
Yeah, like, you know, like for privacy reasons, and to be like completely honest, like I spend so much of my time, like, you know, I feel like at this point I'm a real like workaholic. Like I spend so much of my time a day just worrying about YouTube, like, you know, thinking about things related to YouTube. I don't want to, like, you know, with people I know outside of the YouTube landscape, just talk about work all the time.
Yeah.
And so and I'm always like happy to like answer questions and, you know, provide insight and like, you know, really give my honest opinions about this as like a career opportunity. But, you know, at the same time, it's not just like always what I want to talk about. And I think like it's very important to have an identity outside of just doing YouTube. Like I really enjoy aspects of my life that have absolutely nothing to do with YouTube, but at the same time I love YouTube, and making videos is one of my favorite things to do. It's just finding that balance.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I appreciate you doing this so much. And like I was almost a little bit surprised that you were down, because you are a very private dude. I don't know, have you done something like this before where you just...
No, but I've always wanted to, and I think this
Crazy.
is like a good introduction into doing this, because I'm a very anxious person, very introverted, so social anxiety is like always my number one concern. So I imagine if I was like, you know, hey, like I want to try doing this podcast with like an individual who I've just met on the spot, you know, and trying to have like an hour plus long conversation with that individual, where I mean, like, we've known each other for quite a while now, so I felt like, you know, I'd be a bit more like comfortable discussing these things, and at the same time, like, you know, I just want to support your channel. And
Yeah, I mean this is truly a scoop. This is like an exclusive.
So you guys known each other a while. Did you meet through the YouTubes?
We met through the YouTubes.
Yeah, we met through the
You
tubes.
Chills reached out first. He's always been super supportive.
Damn.
And you know, people would also might be surprised, but I'm fucking super anxious, dude. Like, you know, it's like you watch Eric Andre, but then if you saw him at the airport and walked up to him and said hi, he's not gonna be like, hello, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so usually I find it's the opposite. Like, the person has the opposite personality of like what they're portraying, and yeah, I'm pretty freaking introverted myself, dude.
It's pretty crazy, like how you go up to groups of people and like interview them or do like silly things in front of them. It's like I couldn't do that.
yeah,
but
never
like,
in a million years
but
could I
I'm
do that.
like fairly good in social situations. But like you can do that shit, I can't. But like if you're
I'm
kicking
I'm not good in social situations.
but if you kick it at my house and like some homies come over, like you usually dip pretty quick, or like
Yeah.
I don't invite you to parties because I know you don't want to go. You know what I mean? It's interesting, like that duality in some people.
It is, and when I'm talking to people and I'm picturing it, when I'm talking to someone for a video, I'm like picturing the video in my head, like I'm a fucking director. And it's
Yeah.
like when I'm doing that, I can like look a person in the eyes and say anything I want. But without that, yeah, like I'm pretty reserved.
Interesting.
It's weird.
That's you know, like actors are like that too. And I know somebody who worked with Leo in what was the movie where he's like fighting bears and
The
shit?
Revenant.
The Revenant, yeah, how he plays like the big tough guy who's just like surviving in the forest, and it's like super hardcore. But then they would yell cut, and he was like tiptoeing around like puddles and like trying to stay on pass and like not get his feet dirty and
Wow.
shit.
Leo's like, take me back to LA.
Somebody carry me to my trailer.
Did you know the final scene of Inception was filmed by Calgary? Did you know that?
Really?
The big mountain scene?
Wow.
That was filmed in a ski resort by Calgary.
Shoehorning in Inception every fucking time.
No, I just rewatched Inception like the other week, and I was like, where did they film this shit? It must have been like Canada or Sweden or some shit.
It's so funny, man, like how much stuff is filmed in Western Canada, like
Yeah.
especially now living in Vancouver, like and like Deadpool, for example, like they film so much of those movies here. You can actually like recognize buildings when they're going down the street, like, oh hey, this is on this bridge.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid, I was really into those Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. So I even had the one that was like about the movie, and they said like, we wanted to portray this in the perfect American city, which turns out to be Vancouver, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I remember one time I was on a trip here with my parents, and we drove past like this bridge, and like I remember there was like a big set, and like this guy in like this superhero suit was just sitting on like the side of the bridge.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? This looks fucking crazy. What is this? And it's like, yeah, it was that like iconic Deadpool scene. I just like happened to drive by.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. But so kind of getting back to the Chill's origin story, if we may, like, you know, that kind of takes it back to how we're both, you know, like low-key dudes. And it's like, I've seen so many motherfuckers, man, get like 1 million plays on SoundCloud, and they're like, oh, like I get like this guy will give me lean now, and this guy will give me coke, and all these girls are down to fuck me, and then boom, like, you know, next week they're gone, and just like a sea of that. Well, you know, they'll stay around for a couple of months maybe, but it's like, and post like some cool Instagram pictures, but yeah, they get distracted from the hustle. And I also think that obviously I'm nowhere near your level, but I think that's why neither of us have fallen off, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's also like what I noticed really early on, and then actually, like, you know, once things were successful, you know, just being very careful of like the people I had around me, and like, you know, people are trying to push you down those sort of negative paths, you know, for their own personal gain. Like, you know, like people, you know, trying to borrow money from me, or like trying to expose me to certain things, you know, for, I feel like, their own sort of reasonings. And if I would have gone down that route, I would have crashed and burned so quickly.
And we can, I mean, I'm sure you and I can talk about that all day, like how it fucks with your head. I know we were discussing maybe talking about how YouTube like affected me because I had such a fast rise.
Like,
and like
meteoric, especially for the fact that, you know, at the start it was just kind of you and like an iPhone camera. You very rarely see somebody find success with that.
It's definitely, it was definitely an anomaly, and I feel very lucky and all that jazz.
Yeah. And
But
then
yeah, like I remember, dude, I remember walking through like the Safeway in frickin' like some dinky Safeway in Edmonton, and I'm refreshing my phone, and it's just like another fucking 1,000 subscribers, another 1,000. I think there was a week or two where I got 300K subs.
wow.
And it was like being on like a roller coaster. it literally I felt high. Like I think I'm pretty sure I was high on adrenaline.
You
for,
do,
like,
man. It
yeah.
really boosts your serotonin. Like I used to be addicted to just watching like the analytics, and when like a video would blow up and just kind of watching it like just increase and increase more, and then it's kind of like it feels almost like in some way like gambling, right? Because you've put in sort of like there's no guarantee that the video is going to be successful, and when they're not, you feel terrible because so much of your passion and time and effort has gone into that. But then when it is successful, you really feel like the man, because it's like, I had this idea, I saw it all the way through, and then it was actually successful. And then you really start to like chase that feeling.
Well, you might find interesting is when I was at that huge sub increase, the main thing going through my mind is like, no, like, slow down, like too crazy, because I know I have no intention of fucking like signing a contract or doing this or that. Like I always just want to run things myself, just do my own thing. Maybe the channel would be growing faster if I just double down on worst reviewed, and then everyone's recognizing me in the street. It's like, oh, you're that guy that does shitty things. It's like, I want people to be like, oh, you're the guy that did the thing that humanized the sex worker. Oh, you're the guy that did this, that did that. Like, and yeah, man, I just knew that's like that path of like more integrity, dare I say, without sucking my own dick too hard. That's a slow burn path.
And I think that's always something I've really respected about you, is your commitment to staying like genuine and original, where like originality is becoming like sort of less and less kind of common with YouTube, where
Facts.
You just kind of I'm even within it, and I'm guilty of this, right? Like list videos, that's a popular trend on YouTube. I know if I continue to make list videos, my channel will continue to be successful. And in your case, with the worst reviewed series, if it's true, like if you would have probably done like 2 or 3 worst reviewed videos a week, you'd probably be like bigger than I am right now. And then as soon as that trend died out, if you just would have gone on to the next trend and just kind of continued doing that, your channel probably would have been so successful, but I'm sure you probably wouldn't have felt as fulfilled with instead pursuing the content that you wanted to make.
Yeah, I'm just not interested, man. Like, I don't want to react to shit. I don't want to make a video like, oh, look at these reacting to TikTokers, they're so silly. Like, I just want to do whatever the fuck I want, and maybe that's to my own detriment at times, but like I don't know, man. It's like me and Marco always say, like, do you want to be Trinidad James or MGK? Because it's like they came up around the same time, right? And Trinidad James, I feel like, blew up a little bit bigger, but he fell off so fast. But people forget that Machine Gun Kelly, he also fell off for like a while, because he had like Wild Boy, and then kind of like it was just nothing for a couple of years. But guess what? He was still like constantly touring, constantly putting out music, like doing all this shit. It just wasn't like super mainstream friendly. It wasn't like exactly the sound that was cool.
Yeah.
But now, like, he made the fucking mainstream catch up to him, because he took the slow burn path. He has all these dedicated fans. They know he's not going to switch up, because he's just been doing the same shit for years, staying true to the craft. And now he's one of the most fucking popular musicians on earth, probably.
Yeah, I probably have a bit more of a biased approach, just because I'm like a huge fan of Trinidad James. I love the music that
You're like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
You hear Trinidad James dropped some fire shit yesterday.
All Cold Everything
maybe
was a hit.
No, that's not fair, because I actually haven't followed Trinidad James's career.
He's still making like better music than he ever has before. I think that's a real, just the music industry in general, where if you're kind of that one-hit wonder, it's like, how do you follow up the success of something that was like astronomically big? Like All Gold Everything was massive, like absolutely huge. And I remember watching in an interview, I think he had only been like rapping for like 6 to 8 months before that song blew up.
Yeah. Well, I actually apologize to Trinidad then for
That
for
undermines your whole analogy.
You get the analogy though.
I get the analogy.
Y'all get the analogy, and yeah, I don't wanna like bring forth that narrative. Then I didn't even know he was still making music. God damn.
Yeah, he had some. He had one that I thought was gonna blow up. Like, she ain't fat, bro, just a little thick.
Hey.
He had like mystical on it,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
one other dude, and he like, have you heard "Dad" by him?
No.
I can hurt your feelings, boy. Bitch, I'm your dad.
Man, do you still listen? Do you ever listen to Hobson?
A lot more back in the day.
You don't like Hobson?
I fucking liked Hobson for a while, and it's just like the same old shit. And
Yeah.
he's like super condescending too. He's like, "What? You're not sober and jacked like and independent like me? Fuck you, flippity flippity flop."
I like the new Hobson stuff. I feel like people think Hobson fell off maybe, but every time he
he's
drops a
still-
new track, it's like pretty fire.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who, are maybe not in like the mainstream or the limelight, but still have like massive followings.
Yeah.
And like look at like NF. Like, I'm not super familiar with his music. I believe he's like a Christian rapper.
Yeah.
But he outsold like 90% of the people who are like mainstream in the industry. Like his album did over like 100,000 views. Or sorry, 100,000 copies sold first week.
It's
Which
just
is
like that slow rise, right? To like stay consistent, keep building the fan base, like never kind of flip on the fan base. It's like if you keep building like that, you fucking, I don't know, you rise eventually. It's not like meteoric, but like you're still ascending, right?
yeah.
Total sidetrack. I want to ask you if it's okay. Like, how do you feel about all the chills memes out there? Because there's so much. Was there a point where it like skyrocketed? Has your feelings about the memes changed? Like, how do you feel about it?
So I think even starting out as a YouTuber, I was a huge fan of memes and meme culture in general. But I think what I love about the foot lettuce meme in hindsight was how like unintentional and how successful it actually was. So, and I was thinking about this last night because I knew I had this podcast coming, but I originally recorded that script. It was in like November at like 3 a.m. I was so tired. I just had to get this done, to get the video out on time.
Yeah.
And didn't think anything of it. The video, it was successful. Like, it gotten over 1 million views, but nothing like crazy about it or nothing that pointed me to think that like this video was going to be different in any way. Then fast forward to like February, and I'm starting to see like comments on my Instagram like foot lettuce, Burger King foot lettuce. And I don't even remember at the time. So I had to like Google Burger King foot lettuce to figure out like what people were talking about.
Yeah.
And I think at the beginning it was like a little frightening just because I didn't know like how things were going to play out. But I think like, and I've always been open about this was like, just embracing it and just being like, kind of running with the joke. Because if I would have been like, oh, I'm being like cyberbullied or people are making fun of the way I talk, it would have just ruined my whole channel, like in a way, because the seriousness of my old content where, I talked a lot more about like true crime or, more like past like historic events, it had a lot more of a serious side to it that I don't think would have been sustainable after the meme. And I think it was also interesting to see because for the first time, like people were like recognizing me on the street because I was always somebody who kind of stayed behind the scenes. So very rarely someone would recognize my voice. Just sort of like just went off like, oh, are you that guy from YouTube? Or like I was ordering a pizza one time and they're like, is this Chills?
Over the phone?
Yeah, over the phone.
Crazy.
Actually, I have such a funny story about this, actually, complete sidetrack. So I'm hanging out with two friends of mine from high school. I'm hanging out at my buddy's place. We're talking, we're hungry. We're like, oh, let's order a pizza. I pull out my phone, I'm on speakerphone, and like, I start ordering it. And the woman's like, oh, is this Chills? It's like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, like I'm such a big fan of your channel. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. So we order the pizza, and it's right as this place is closing. So we're downstairs in this dude's house, and we can't hear the doorbell. So the pizza man came to the place, was knocking on the door. I didn't have my phone on me. I have like 20 missed calls, and then we can't get a hold of the pizza place because they're now closed. So, and then I was like really freaked out because I was like, damn, we did these people dirty.
Yeah.
And they also like recognize me from my channel. I don't want to be like known as, you know, Chill's the guy who finesses the pizza places. So, yeah, I think like after, you know, that meme was successful, I had people like, you know, just like randomly coming up to me, and like people may not have been aware of my channel at all, but like were like aware of the meme. Like I remember it was like a friend of a friend, and they were talking about it, and they're like, oh, so like what do you do for a living? And you know, since this is going to contradict what I said before, but since he knew I was like that dude from the meme, I was like, oh, well, I'm like a YouTuber. And he's like, oh, I didn't think you did YouTube. So it was kind of like, you know, people weren't even aware that this is where that meme originated from. And then after it was, you know, kind of got like some level of like online notoriety, I thought it was really beneficial because, you know, then people who stumbled upon my content would then instantly recognize my voice. And I felt like that was something really unique that I had in the niche of scary videos, was that, you know, people could recognize this voice, or, you know, even it is like, you know, it's polarizing where, you know, people either love it or hate it. But, you know, just to have like, you know, people recognize your voice, I think is so essential.
I love
for
that
YouTube.
I love that you like lean into it, because it's like that's the difference between people laughing like with you and at you. Because like all the memes about you, I think, for the record, are like very good natured, and they're like laughing with you. But then if you were like, you guys, you don't get it, like my channel's super serious, then they're laughing at you.
Then they make a meme about that and shit.
But when you roll with that shit and drop like the song, the number 15 song, like you're 8 miling, like you know the end of 8 Mile where he's like, yeah, you guys are right.
I do like mayonnaise.
And then it's like now what can you say, you know? And now that just disarms everybody.
Yeah, and you know, I feel grateful that, you know, that path was clear to me at the time, because I feel like I could have handled it like way worse. And
for sure, man.
Yeah, I would have just like probably like I would have seen things kind of like decline after that, and then just been like a washed up meme, which is like
no one wants that.
Bottom of the barrel.
Man, people who don't get it and they try and fight back at the trolls, it's like, god damn, dude, you will not win with trolls.
Oh yeah, not
You'll
at
just
all.
make it worse and worse and worse, and then eventually you'll disappear.
Yeah, don't feed the trolls, baby.
And that, like, it takes a lot out of you, I think, to like, you know, be like arguing with people on the internet and constantly feeling like, you know, you need to like defend yourself.
Well, speaking of like, you said you wanted to talk to me about worst reviewed, kind of?
Yeah.
You know, maybe to start, the thing that's I noticed the parallel is like the biggest meme of you is like the number 15, and the biggest meme of around me, if there is one, is the worst reviewed thing. And the parallel is you're like, yeah, it was like 3 a.m. and I said the thing and I put it out and it was whatever. And that's exactly what worst reviewed was to me as well. Like I had uploaded, I think like 2 or 3 other funny videos on my YouTube, and it was like I tried like a Subway pizza, or no, 7-Eleven. It was a 7-Eleven pizza. And then there was like a Subway video, and then I had this video where I just went to this trash restaurant, right? And it was like uploading, and it was literally, I think it was like 3 a.m., 3 a.m. And I was like, man, what do I call this? And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure it's the worst reviewed restaurant. Like, that's kind of interesting, like worst reviewed. And I typed it and fucking uploaded. Like, it wasn't even a thought. It wasn't even a thought. And it's weird how that works. It's like all of those biggest things are always so unintentional.
Yeah.
And then when you're chasing the dragon and going, this will be the next thing, that's never that never works. It's always just when you're kind of following your heart, just like catching a vibe.
It's
Yeah.
hard, it's
Douchey,
hard
but-
too, like with like you know, like listening to comments and listening to advice. It's so double edged because like, yeah, you should listen to people's advice. Like it could be like very beneficial, but at the same time, like a lot of your comments are like, go back to doing just worst reviewed, and the other people are like, I love the new angle you're going. And it's like it's tearing you in two directions. Like fans want the new shit, fans like the old shit, and eventually you just got to be like, well, this is what I want to do. This is, I don't know, what I think is a good new concept.
Well,
Fuck it.
I knew from the beginning that I didn't want to be in a box. And then when it's like, especially when it's like, hey, I know you don't want to be in a box, but do you want to be in a box of doing shitty stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, no. And it's like, dude, but don't get me wrong. Like the worst reviewed videos, I actually love filming them.
Oh, they're a
And
blast, yeah.
I think the reason it works so well is because like I love cringy stuff, and I'm like always like watching cringe stuff, always listening to like bad music, like it's like,
Always.
yeah, I'm like, I'm really weird about it. So it is really fun for me, but I don't know, man. Like I don't just want to be defined. And like I said, that might be the longer path, but it's fine. And like, you know, so many people have ran with that shit.
Chills, when you were doing like new stuff that wasn't just like your top 15s, like when you'd like put out your rap video and stuff and like try and like venture out, do you find that you get like weird backlash or encouragement?
It's a little bit of like a mix. Like even beyond music, like I have another good example where I wanted to film something where it was like we packed up our stuff, actually went to these locations, got our own footage, and I wanted to go more in depth in certain places. So we had where we were gonna go to like a series of haunted lighthouses with, I thought, like cool and interesting stories, you know, over Eastern Canada. And filming it was an absolute blast, but I mean it was nowhere near as successful as like the content where like, you know, my bread and butter now is like analyzing scary videos.
Bringing it back for a second, I have a question for you that's like kind of deep. Do you think I did the right thing by like pushing the brakes a little bit on the worst reviewed shit?
There's your answers,
Listen, though.
folks.
Like,
That's a wrap, baby.
Yeah, you had videos that were successful that had nothing to do with worst reviewed.
Yeah.
And for that, I would like, I can't just say, yeah, man, like it was 100% the wrong decision to make. I think like you could have transitioned into like, you know, that lifestyle YouTuber, you know, vlogs their life every day. You know, you do like some worst reviewed videos, like multiple a week, then whatever the next trend is, you know, you open up a TikTok account, you take some dance lessons, like,
Yeah,
you know, you
like
really
you're
could have
losing
like
that's how I know I
shifted.
made the right choice, because you're losing me big time with that. with
Yeah,
that
but
shit.
you see what I'm saying though, right? It's just
Yeah.
like it's so easy just to focus on like, oh hey, like this is working for these individuals, why don't I just do the same thing? Because you had the other side of it where then these YouTubers were seeing that your content was successful and then, you know, also making worst reviewed videos. And it's hard because you can't really ever say that like, oh, you own like, you know, this type of video, like no one else can make this sort of video because I made it first. Like that'll just never be the reality on YouTube.
Well,
And
it hurt. The thing that hurt is seeing like the concept go into the hands of what you're saying, of like those daily vloggers who just like shit out these like really half-hearted versions of like what I was trying to do. And you know what? That's fine. Like that's still fine. Like the one that really hurt was Vice, because like it's like, you know, as a kid I would watch Vice and like read like Hunter S. Thompson and all this shit and be like, man, maybe one day if I'm tight enough, like Vice can like offer me a job or something.
And then you got tight enough that they ripped you off.
I got tight enough. Exactly. That's probably even tighter, right? But yeah, like that's the one that really hurt, and especially because it's like, man, you guys are like, yeah, obviously not insinuating that they ripped me off. That'd be insane. But
You didn't say it, I said it.
yeah. But like, you guys aren't just some fuckhead in LA. Like, you guys are a huge company with like certain responsibilities, and like you should have certain standards. Yeah, let's switch gears. I just wanted to get that off my chest, man. Is there anything you want to ask me, Mr. Guy?
Yeah, let's switch it up. You've been interviewing me, man.
Yeah.
And I hope I didn't come off as too much of a depressed individual.
You came
No,
off
you
as
killed
a
it.
genius.
It was actually really
Appreciate
informative.
it.
And yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it'd be cool to talk about, like, you know, just a little bit more like where you feel you're at right now. I feel like you're in a position where, you know, you're transitioning into trying new things, like, for example, this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, how are you feeling, man? How are you feeling, like, emotionally right now?
I'm feeling like pretty like hopeful, but like a little bit worn down, because it's like, you know, I did have that blow up in like 2018, and I was like, oh, I looked at the comments, everyone's like, everyone likes this, like, I like doing it, cool, boom, and I just have not stopped.
Yeah.
And it's like I just dove in head first, and it's like we were on the phone the other day, and you were like, man, I don't know, like, I'd be having panic attacks all the time if I were you, and da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, dude, I went to the hospital last week. I had a fucking panic attack.
Yeah.
Like this shit.
Like, oh my God.
This shit's no joke. Like, and we were kind of talking about before the podcast too, like, how hard it is with, like, the PC and the cancel culture being so rampant right now, how hard it is making, like, sometimes the style of content that I do. And even like I had to I didn't have to, but I chose to stop making videos where I tried to help homeless people, because there was like a couple times where I was like, you know, hanging out with someone, and someone would walk up and be like, what are you doing sticking a camera in this man's face, you know, taking advantage of him. And it's like, man, like, that's not what it is. But it's a tough fucking road to walk right now, for sure, with like how tense things are. And that's why the podcast is great, is like, you know, just very, very controlled environment, but at the same time the channel also thrives on uncontrolled shit, and that's what I love doing too. So like, it's hard. It's like I'm still kind of figuring it out as I go.
You know what I want to bring up, and it's good because both you guys are here. My favorite video that you've done in the last long time was the cuddle party one. It just blew me away, when they're all like on the ground, and
When we were all like pretending to be cows mooing and shit,
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, this is midsummer, dude.
Yeah.
This is fucked up. Who's jumping off the cliff, bro?
Yeah.
Damn.
man, Midsommar was probably my favorite movie of 2019.
No way.
like
We
it.
didn't like
I
it.
You guys,
Yeah.
did you guys watch the director's cut?
No.
You guys got to watch the director's cut. It's like another, I think, about 40 minutes, and it gives a lot more context. Because
Okay,
I
great.
watched it with a really good friend of mine who had seen it in theaters.
Yeah.
And he said, like, you know, like, I had hung out with him quite recently after he'd seen it, and he was like, bro, this movie sucks. Like, he said that scene where, you know, the guy's like impregnating that girl, and they're all like chanting behind him. He like burst out laughing in the theater. And I was like, so like, oh man, I guess this movie sucks. And I was like, it was disappointing to hear, because I really liked Hereditary, like, you know, the same
Hereditary's the
director.
shit, yeah.
And we downloaded the director's cut like as soon as it dropped on Apple TV, and I was just like obsessed with it. And what I loved about it more was I watched it with that individual, and he could point out stuff. So like everything that happens in that movie is like painted on the walls
on the
that they're
first mural
around,
or whatever.
and like even when you know, that scene where it's like the dude eats the pie with like the hair in it, and like his slightly redder drink than the rest of them in the
Even that's in
director's
the portrait,
cut. Like they have a scene where it's like all those events are like painted on this wall. And I just thought that was such a cool idea, because it was like everything that happened to them, that information was all readily available to these individuals.
But like, not to get too crazy, but I think Hereditary is probably the best horror movie ever made.
That was like, oh, sorry to cut you off there.
No.
When, you know, she's having the anaphylactic shock, and, you know, I don't want to spoil the movie, but the events that happened in that car, I was like in complete shock. Like, I just couldn't believe that had just happened.
I fucked the theater up when I went to it in theaters.
And when he's like lying in the bed awake, and he just looks so like just like this in a state of shock, and the mom gets into the car and starts screaming. Like,
it's really interesting. The director said that how is it? He's like, that Hereditary is a suspense movie that has horror elements, but then he said Midsommar was a horror movie that had suspense elements, and I believe the exact invert of that.
Yeah,
like I don't know, that didn't make any sense to me, but Hereditary was dope. But that's, I don't know, like Midsommar kind of came off as like that highbrow horror that they're trying to do now, and
that's what I was gonna say.
It was a little up its own ass in the regard that great concept, like how she doesn't have like sympathy or empathy in the normal world, and then she gets that through the cult, and that's how you can see how like a cult can indoctrinate somebody. But then in the meantime, the plot fucking sucked, and there was like no suspense for me, and that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, like,
that's understandable.
It felt like he made Hereditary, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're a genius, you're fucking amazing, totally deserved." And he's like, I am a genius. And he made this like super pretentious thing. And it's like, and I've had this debate before.
Lots of people like that movie.
Where people are like, but man, don't you get that when he has sex, it represents the genesis of man, and then the fucking blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but like make a better script, please. Like, fuck, dude. Like, are y'all forgetting about the script? Are y'all forgetting about
the script?
Yeah, but I have to watch the director's cut now because, you know,
it definitely gives some more context, but I can understand that. I like to view it as just a movie where like a cult just manipulates some like unsuspecting
very
individuals,
good in that regard,
and just like there's like puppet masters, like, you know, pulling the strings, and everybody's in on it except for these individuals. Like even the dude who was like their Swedish roommate, like even from the start, like exactly what he was doing.
That's I'm in such a dilemma though. It's like, oh, if you watch 40 more minutes of this movie you don't like, you might like it. I'm like, ah, shit, do I want to watch that plus 40 minutes? But yeah, maybe I'd like it. It's like somebody who gives like a bad round of sex, or like, hey, do you want to go again? It'll be so much better this time.
Well, like, don't we both also hate The Witch?
Yeah, fuck The Witch.
Dude, The Witch...
And It Comes at Night. Same shit.
Haven't seen it, but The Witch is the exact same thing for me. Like, everyone's like, it's so genius. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, just because it has a cool atmosphere. That's the word people kept using. It has atmosphere. The Witch is the only movie where I just went by myself to watch it. I walked out after half an hour, like, this sucks. And then all the reviews were so good. Everyone said it was so amazing. I was like, all right. I went back and watched the whole thing, and it was worse than when I had just watched the half hour.
You guys seen The Turning? Was like the worst scary movie I've seen in a long time.
No.
The ending was so unsatisfying, and everyone in the theater was just like, what had just happened? Like, the ending makes no sense at all. I would highly, highly recommend watching it as like a bad
highly recommend not watching it, maybe.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Yeah.
I have to pee.
Okay.
Do you mind?
Oh, let's shuffle out.
I'll let you guys talk. I feel like I'm cutting everyone off, so I'll give you guys a minute here anyway.
You're in the main chair here, dude.
Oh god.
He just wants to be a nice guy so bad. This is a question that I asked Phil last time, and I think that it's kind of interesting for the YouTube culture, really, a YouTuber culture, is where do you intend to, like, where do you see yourself when you're 40? Like, because you must, you know, you're a smart dude who's like thinking ahead, you're a young dude. Do you want to keep branching out and building things? Like, do you see yourself as a YouTuber at that point? Or are you going to, like, what would you like to do?
Yeah, so, you know, and this is something I've given a lot of thought to. You know, let's say 3 years from now, I'm 25. And I'm like, I've been doing this now for a super long time. I'm super burnt out. I just need to call it here.
Yeah.
I could go back to school, pursue another career. You know, clearly I have some, like, skills when it comes to like marketing and sort of running like an online business, or
you could like manage YouTubers.
Yeah.
Or some shit. Yeah.
But another thing that I would love to do is like, you know, just I'd love to do something like, for example, I know these individuals who run a charity. It's like a real mom and pop thing. Like the husband has passed away. The mom now runs it full time. Like, you know, also raising a family, also trying to have a life outside of, you know, doing those, like running like a charity, which takes so much time. I would love to come in and be like, listen, like, I have some level of financial freedom. Like, I would love to come in and just dedicate like my full time to growing something like that. And I feel like something along the lines of that would give me the fulfillment that I currently have with YouTube, because any sort of online sort of following, right? Like, you know, it's going to dissipate eventually. Like, nobody's immune to that.
Yeah. Oh, are you? What? Oh, he's just standing there.
Keep going.
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
What was the...
oh God.
Sorry, guys.
Fuck, I forgot our trajectory there. I was really feeling that, but that's really dope. Oh yeah, so you don't want, it would be hard for you to do the mental switch from doing what you're doing now, which is like very much your thing, to going to a constraint.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? And like, obviously what I have right now is like sort of that, like, you know, creative control and that ability to sort of like how I want to run things, I can run things that way. And I would love to like also take something that would benefit people a lot more than just making like YouTube content, and taking like, you know, the work experience or the knowledge that I've gained from doing this, and you know, utilizing it in something like that. Like, for example, with that like charity, you know, like if we could grow more of like a social media following for them, get them like more levels of notoriety, they might be able to expand and help more people than what they're currently able to do, just because, you know what I mean? Like, they could focus on what's working for them, and I could find ways to like expand and grow, you know, like what they're doing, and just taking that to the next level. I just really like, that's just something that I've always thought like I could help do.
I feel like you also don't, would you say it's accurate that you maybe don't publicize that you do so much for charity? Like,
I can't say no, because like every time that I do like more of like a bigger charity drive, I try to include you know, like my channel in it, just to like raise awareness and bring in like additional sort of like donation revenue for these individuals. But like every what I've tried to do now, because in all honesty, like I volunteered a lot more as like a kid growing up. Like we used to volunteer a ton at this place. It was called In From the Cold, and it was just, we were there, I think it was every other Thursday, so it was just so much easier to commit to that schedule. And then, you know, that charity is, I think it's no longer where we used to volunteer. And I, you know, started working with a different charity, and it was very great working with them. But it's just like, I always find that it's just kind of hard maintaining sometimes like a life outside of doing YouTube, and that's what I worry about sometimes. Is just like my work-life balance. And even bringing this up, I think, is such a great example of like, just because I'm successful with YouTube doesn't mean I'm like successful with every aspect of my life, and there's not ways that I could still like improve and grow as a person.
I mean, I'm sure we both made a lot of sacrifices, man. Like, motherfuckers know, like, that know me, it's like, unless I'm just like hanging out with Brett and we're like brainstorming, it's like, good luck hanging out with me until like maybe like 9 or 10 p.m. Because I'm just fucking grinding, baby.
So to go back to that previous thing, what then I've done is like, I've really just made a commitment to myself that then every December I'm just gonna drop everything and do some sort of like charity related event. And I think like I haven't made them as public as they used to be, and I kind of like that more, just being like, hey, like this is some money that I've earned, like please take this as a donation, like what can I do to help and like volunteer here. And then maybe like that post is able to bring like some more awareness.
God damn, you're a nice dude, man.
We did one, and it was like in December, and it was, I believe it's the Children in Need Society. And so we went to a house where it was just for kids who had like nowhere else to go, like whether they came from like abusive households, or maybe like they're raised by a single mom, that mom's in the hospital right now. And just seeing like some of those kids and just like how I could just never imagine being in that situation. Like it just broke my heart being there.
Yeah.
And I know, like, you know, I was able to, like, we donated, like, we went to Costco, bought a bunch of supplies because they were low on supplies. Like, you know, I wrote them a check, and I know that goes, you know, it helps to some extent, but it's still, like, it just doesn't feel as, like, it would ever be enough for me until I could actually, like, commit to, like, a regular volunteer schedule. So I guess, like, to go back to a previous conversation, that's where I would like to grow after this, is like, if I could continue to be successful on YouTube for a few more years, you know, eventually it's going to have to hit a point where I just got to be like, okay, I need to call it here. It would be very nice to transition into something that would be fulfilling. I could help people and not worry about, like, the financial restrictions of, you know, just like, if I didn't have YouTube, like I would just be like, you know what I mean? Especially like if we were living in Vancouver, you got to work like a full-time schedule plus a little extra to even make like rent here. You know what I mean?
Rent. Yeah, rent here is fucking. I mean, it's all perspective, man. It's like I've been in situations when I did like some of the homeless videos, like when I did the videos on Canada's Worst Street. And it's like, I was like fighting off anxiety the whole time and shit. And I remember asking one guy, like, how are you just constantly in this environment? And he's like, well, what do you mean? Like, he was like confused.
Yeah.
He was confused by the question because he's like, well, I go over here, they give me food. Then I go over there, they give me clothes. Then I sleep here. And he just like looked at me like, so what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was confused. Like, where are you going with this? And I'm like, well, man, like, you know, it's a tough environment, but yeah, it's like perspective, man. It's like whatever you're used to, it normalizes.
Yeah, and I that was another thing I really respected about your documentary, going to I always mix these up. It's East Hastings, right?
Yeah.
And you know, that's like throughout Canada has like a reputation of being like, you know, like a dark, seedy place. And I think like you're able to really humanize like the individuals there and take away from these like sort of stereotypes that you know, people like to bring towards like homeless individuals.
Thanks, man. That's my favorite video I've ever done. Yeah, that was one too where I just stumbled on it. I wasn't like, this is gonna go viral. I was like, this is like, I'm interested in like what this is all about.
Yeah.
That's the key. I'm really starting to realize more and more that that's the key. You know, like if you want to make a fucking Mr. Beast style video or like eat 1,000 hot dogs or something, but like you think bugs are fucking cool, you're probably way better off making like a 1-hour bug documentary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people will respect it. Like it's real.
And I just like the idea of like shining light on different strange subcultural niches like you do. Like the Cuddle Party is a great example of that, where so many people are like, the fuck, this exists? And then to just like, not just like show it existing, but also to understand why it exists and why this is important to people. I really like those like subcultural documentaries. Almost.
Yeah, no, it was really interesting. And I should go back, like, you know, because I feel like I knocked the Cuddle Parties a little bit, where I'm sure there's some people who, like, you know, they're 100% genuine with their intentions and they go there for the right reasons. The part that always, like, I would just be so concerned about is the individuals who are, like, not really there for like the right reasons, and just maybe to take advantage of people who are like, you know, desperate for like love and affection.
I think those people would get knocked out of that environment pretty fast.
Yeah, they were pretty like strict about it, and we I don't even know if I think you included this, where it's like somebody kept like rocking a woodie and he was just like poking people, and they just like banned the dude. You know?
Yeah, because I remember when the lady was going over the rules, they kind of brought up that part.
Yeah, what happens if you get an erection?
Well, it's good. It's good to have
stranger.
that.
Yeah,
it's good to have that open discussion. But man, I want to maybe end it on like a light note. I feel like every time I see you, we talk so much about like YouTube and work and stuff, and I want to ask you about like your favorite movies and music? Because I feel like I've never asked you.
Yeah, it's funny, and I think like us, just based on our conversations about Midsommar, when I was a kid,
Might be divisive.
yeah,
Here we go, baby. Here we go.
one of my favorites was like Adam Sandler movies.
I love Adam Sandler.
Oh, really? I thought you guys
course.
were gonna be like, oh, I hate Adam Sandler.
Dude,
like I loved
what
Happy
do you-
Gilmore.
Waterboy.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds was another one I really liked that I don't think was as popular. And there's one other one.
What's the Little Nicky is like?
Nicky?
It's a weird movie, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Or have you guys ever seen Reign Over Me? It was like the serious Adam Sandler movie. It's crazy how many people don't know about that. So Adam Sandler plays a guy whose whole family was killed in 9/11 and he missed the flight. So his whole family was dead
Jesus.
except for him and his life after this happened. I remember like bawling my eyes out watching it.
Did you know that happened with Did you know Seth MacFarlane missed the 9/11
Yeah, I
flight?
heard about that.
That's crazy, dude. And damn.
As we take it to a very dark
I'm sorry, I
topic.
derailed your
goddamn,
Adam.
you
Yeah, but
I derailed your Adam Sandler monologue. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
like I really liked Adam Sandler movies. I was a huge fan of like Will Ferrell, like Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, Old School.
I think Step Brothers is the best comedy ever made.
Yeah, it's
so we're
so
right
good.
on. We're right on. par here.
I got into scary movies a lot more like later on. Like I went to this like military school for just grade 7, and there I got like I was a part of like the rebel kids there, and like they introduced me to like ghost hunting and like the paranormal, and we used to
Yeah.
watch like scary movies, and like
I
I
love
remember
scary
watching
movies.
like the Blair Witch Project with them for the first time, and it like freaking like the absolute wits out of me.
Did y'all think it was real?
At the time, because we were kids.
And it was such good marketing around that.
Oh
movie,
my
too.
God, they
I
killed
kind of
it.
missed that whole when it was like the viral marketing. I've like read about it, but like just watching it, it seemed like it came off very genuine. But now like the whole found footage.
Now you just
scary
Google it and
movies.
it's like, yeah, this is fake.
But yeah, so I got into scary movies a lot more like the older I got, and now I feel like so like desensitized to that type of.
You see,
content.
Mandy.
No,
with Nicolas
actually.
Cage. If you like aesthetically pleasing movies, like it's not a crazy plot or script, but it's beautiful.
Man, I watched that Nick Cage. I tried to watch it. That one that everyone's.
Color out of space, or
No, it was like he plays this like obsessed fan. Am I?
No, you're talking about The Fanatic with John Travolta.
Oh, I'm mixing it up. Sorry,
I
am talking
fucking
about The
love that
Fanatic.
movie so much.
I couldn't even watch the whole thing.
Dude, what was he going? Was he doing like an Oscar bait thing? Like, did he think that was like some daring?
I have no idea.
It was no. You know what? It was very daring. I think he really put it out there, dude.
Yeah, it was really something
Travolta,
else.
he really went for it with The Fanatic, dude.
But yeah, and then music wise, like I went through phases as like my listening devices changed. So like, you know, growing up when I was very young, I had like a Walkman, right? And so it'd be like certain bands that I'd like oh, like I'm gonna get this like Simple Plan CD and just listen to that on repeat.
Yeah.
Or I really liked Nickelback, which is funny. Like
I love Nickelback.
their first album was fire. I just find it so funny that they get clowned so much, because I understand like the transition into the whole like sort of like pop rock or whatever you want to describe it, but their old music was like super good. So I listened to a lot of rock music, and then I think the older I got, the more I got like exposed to like different genres, and like then when I had an iPod and you could like download music on the internet, I started listening to like pretty much everything. Like rap wise, starting off, like I really like Jay-Z, like the Notorious B.I.G. Like I've always been somebody who likes just listening to like specific individuals at like points in time.
Is that still the rap you like, or are you like more current? Or
Yeah, like I try to like keep up to date with like what's popping off music wise. Not as much as I used to, just because like I'm afraid also like how that will affect like my own music if I'm just trying to do like
yeah.
I was really into, once I started getting into like more different like factions of rap, like really into Odd Future. I loved like sort of like the collective that they were going for, and like how it just seemed like all the individuals were so talented at like different things. Like then they started like that sketch show like Loiter Squad, and it's like those guys were like legitimately hilarious and also like really talented musicians. Like their music videos were super original concepts, so like I became low-key obsessed with that. And then I met this dude who we became very good friends, and he was from Atlanta and had moved to Canada. So then he introduced me to a lot more of like Atlanta rap and like just trap music in general. I became like a huge fan of like Young Thug, of like Rich Homie Quan, when they were like making music together.
I love
That's
Young
how
Thug.
I found out about like Trinidad James, and then like, you know, like Migos, like sort of those like, at the time they weren't like popular rappers. They were like the internet sort of like, you know, they had like a following, but they were never as mainstream as they were now. Or like Future. Then when that whole like Chicago drill scene came out, it was very interesting to see these guys talk about their story and like the, you know, like the environment that they grew up in such like an aggressive raw format. And like, you know, Chief Keef was basically like a child star who could have been like the biggest rapper in the world and just kind of decided not to. Like I found that like at the time, especially as a kid, the fact like he didn't show up to the Hate Being Sober music video that they got like 50 Cent and Wiz Khalifa for. It was supposed to be like his first like mainstream, like it was supposed to be like his biggest song. The Interscope or whoever he was signed to dropped so much money on this video shoot, and Chief Keef just didn't show up.
Why?
I didn't know that.
Just, you know, probably just didn't want to. Because you imagine being in that situation though, like I think he was like 16, 17.
Jesus.
Crazy. Yeah, I wonder what is I think we kind of can all guess towards his reasoning that he just wasn't feeling that direction. He kept it like maybe a little more rugged, dare I say. But it's like, yeah, you really have to break new ground if you want to be an iconic artist. Like, you know, you mentioned Young Thug or Migos. It's like, I remember when either of those artists, collectives, whatever, came out, like everyone was like, what the fuck is this? Like, dude, what is this bullshit?
Hated Young Thug. Like, I remember at school, like, you know, saying that I was a fan of him, and people would be like, I can't believe you listen to that. And now he's like influenced mainstream rap so much.
Now it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's like
Little Uzi, same shit.
Or like, you know, like Gunna, Lil Baby, like those two especially, like very, very heavy Young Thug influence. And now I hate to say, but their music has the potential to be bigger than his ever was.
You know, when I was growing up, like 50 Cent and like Rick Ross were super hot, and it was like a very like, I don't want to say bland, but like, you know what I mean?
It was bland as shit.
But then like, you know, like Drake and Wayne were coming out, and everyone's like, this sucks, this is fucking bullshit. And like every comment on every hip hop video was like, so much better than Drake, or like this makes Drake look like shit. It's like, okay,
than Wayne.
We get it, dude. Yeah. And then people are saying that because you know, Drake and Wayne, in my opinion, were breaking new ground, and it made people uncomfortable. And now, you know, they're now the icons, the like the gods of this shit. But people will, you know, then the new crop, like Young Thug, like, what is this bullshit? Commenting on like underground rap videos, this makes Young Thug, you know what I mean? Like, this is so much better than Young Thug.
Well, Young Thug came out with a huge Lil Wayne influence. Like, if you listen to like "Take Care" by Young Thug, like you will think it was Lil Wayne at the beginning of that song.
Now Young Thug is the shit. And then like right now, you know, you have, this is whatever controversial, but you have like the 6ix9ine and the Lil Pump and whatever, and everyone's like, fuck this dog shit. But then in like 10 years, like those will be the icons. You know what I mean?
Or like the style that everybody takes.
The style that everybody takes, whatever. And then in 10 years, there'll be another popping artist who's like, oh, he's the worst. And then in 10 years, that's the god. And it's like, it's a cycle that I've noticed.
That works with like all art, really, though.
I think it's like, I think Mark Cuban said something like, if you want to be a billionaire, like you have to change the way society operates, you know? And that's how I view, you know, the Young Thug, the super bad, like all this shit that like really broke new ground.
It's like understanding the rules, understanding the format, but not getting inducted into it. To be
Exactly.
able to understand it and to know how to be original and break past that. It's like otherwise you're always like chasing the dragon, like you're chasing the next trend, the next trend, the next trend, and if you're always a step behind, like nobody gives a shit. Like it's the people that make something new is are the ones that get, and that's whether it's a one hit wonder or not. It's like you created something that didn't exist at the time, out of the pieces that did exist.
Dare I say, I think that's why the channel works, because like I look at like a lot of popular YouTube and I'm just like, man, I really just don't give a shit about this.
Yeah.
And that's why too, like when the all that worst reviewed shit popped off, I didn't like make a video with the thumbnail all shocked. The worst reviewed thing is popping off. Like, fuck, man, I don't want to like
real YouTuber personalities,
I don't give a shit.
like YTV characters, like it's like
yeah, I don't want to be that person. And
I can't watch that shit.
I don't want to be that person. I don't want these pieces of shit, their names to be in my mouth. Like I really could care less. I'm like a grumpy old man. I'm like the dude from Falling Down. You ever watch Falling Down?
No.
Fuck, that's a tight movie.
But
man.
I think I don't know. There's a certain level of sincerity and like realism in what you do, and like people liking us going back and forth with their banter. Like we're gonna be doing that anyway. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whether the camera's on or off, and
Exactly.
and like how you interact with people you've never met before. It's like it's very genuine. There's nothing like scripted or contrived about it. I fucking hate watching really contrived YouTube personalities because I don't know, I don't relate to it. I don't think it's funny. It just seems like a waste of time to me. But like a lot of my homies that don't like those kind of YouTube personalities, they love your shit because it's just funny and it's I don't know, it seems down to earth even though we're in chaotic, surreal situations a lot of times.
So chills. Do you have an all-time favorite movie?
Is it Inception? Is the question.
No.
If I had to pick a favorite movie, I'd have to go with Step Brothers because I've seen that.
I love that.
I've probably watched it at least 50 times.
That's in my top 5. I would. Oh, I don't know, man. Fuck.
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
I can go genre based, but not overall.
I can pretty comfortably do a top 5, like Wolf of Wall Street, Scarface, something by
Scarface for sure.
something by Tarantino.
I thought all 5 of them were going to be Leo flicks.
He
Pulp
is
Fiction, do you think is the best Tarantino?
I used to think so, but now I think Inglourious Bastards might be the best.
I think that movie
Interesting.
started off
Yeah.
really good, but it kind of just got super wacky and kind of...
What did you guys think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Okay, well, first of all, I did not expect it to be so laid back, and I think they should have marketed it more that way too. Like they should have been like, "Hey, I know this is Tarantino and shit, but this is like he's never made anything like it."
Yeah, and that's what I got. It was either you loved it or you hated it, because I know a lot of people who are like Tarantino fans who didn't want to like watch 3 hours where nothing really happens to the end.
It's not really a Tarantino movie. It's
Yeah.
like it's a homage to film.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I've seen it like only maybe 2-3 times now, but I love the build up to the ending. Like I just find it satisfying to watch it now, knowing that like it's gonna hit a point where things are gonna reach that climax, and the ending's just crazy.
The ending's.
It's like self-defense, but it's quite psychotic at the same time.
Oh, it's way over the line for self-defense.
It's like it's a whole different movie, and then like the last like 5 or 10 minutes, it becomes a Quentin Tarantino movie. But he wants to like pack it. It's like such concentrated like violence and sadism. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
He had
yeah.
to get it in.
He really
it's
had
in
to
his
get it in.
contract. Like there has to be fucking blood.
yeah, he just
But-
edged himself right to the end and just like.
But I've like to me, I'm actually a bit in the middle. Like I think it's a good movie. I think it's like a solid 7.5 movie.
Fair enough.
It did feel like a little bit like, I'm Quentin Tarantino. I can do whatever the fuck I want. He certainly can. So it's like here's this like big homage. Like
Young people wouldn't get it though.
Young
because
people,
it's so contextually based in like it's very meta and like it's referencing while paying tribute to like old film and like showing the transition from old film to new film, and then paralleling that with like the free spirit movement being ruined by the Manson murders and like that transition into like a different world, and then he inverts it. It's like, I don't know, young people would not get any of that context, and it'd be a boring movie, right?
It felt
I didn't get any of that context prior. I was just kind of thinking they were like, you know, I originally thought they were going into it and it was going to be like exactly how the Manson events kind of came out, and then they were just sort of like fictionalizing like the characters involved. You know, except I guess like, you know, Sharon Tate's in it, and so what's the director's name? Roman Polanski. But yeah, like obviously they like how the movie plays out is not like how history plays out. So I thought that was like kind of a cool like twist at the end, but yeah, now that you kind of bring it from more like a real analytical standpoint, and
it's like, and like Leo gets like invited to like the gates open to him, and he goes to like the next level instead of just like fading into obscurity. Like they prevent the Manson murders, so like maybe like the free spirit hippie movement can still happen. It's like it's showing like a different direction that everything kind of could have went, I think.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
But
it was spoiler alert back there.
to me it felt a little bit more like he was making the movie for himself and like Hollywood than for the viewer. That was kind of my problem.
People who work in film, like my buddies in film, they love that movie.
Of course.
So, you know, they know like old you know, filmography, like the old movies that they all love, and then like it shows people filming shit, and it's like it's like film porn.
One of the things he was guaranteed, like he would have the final cut. So it was like exactly the movie that he wanted, which you know, I completely like, I respect that, like, you know, taking a risk and trying something different, and
like a love letter to the media that he loves so much, the form that he loves so much. It's really nice.
How do you come up with your video ideas, Philip?
Oh man. All right, we're really in the 11th hour here, but I'm down. I'm fucking down.
Well, you know, if the last podcast was what, an hour and
23,
talking about our balls and like threesomes, going to the fucking dollar store for 15 minutes.
What is, you're so hung up on this dollar store thing?
That was the first dollar story you told. You came over to my house before and you told me the dollar store story. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's like super boring. There's a dollar store right there you could have went to. Oh, that would have solved everything. And like the podcast starts and you start going into it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
It ripped. The dollar store bit ripped.
So do you guys feel like at this point, like, because now like it seems like you guys are like really good friends. You guys have obviously known each other for a long time.
Yeah, we've been good friends. Yeah.
But it seems like, you know, Brett, like you're a lot more involved in like the production of the videos than prior to Philip moving to Vancouver.
Oh yeah.
For sure. You already moved back here when we did our first video? I think.
What's the question?
What's the question?
No,
well, I was just like, you know, just seeing like, you know, I guess like where I was going with this is like, you know, do you feel like moving to Vancouver has like shifted the direction you wanted to go with the channel, or has that like influenced like the videos that you're currently making? Because if it's like, if you were still living in Edmonton, where do you think your channel would be compared to moving?
The main thing, okay, is that people in Edmonton are a lot easier to troll.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
But the thing in Vancouver is there's lots more like crazy weird subcultures.
In Vancouver, there's a lot more weird subcultures. There's a lot more opportunity. So it is really like there are a lot of pros and cons, and sometimes I do think about how it's like, I was talking to fucking like a little name drop, Conor McGregor's fucking manager when we were.
Oh my god!
What? guys, I'm pretty cool.
Does that mean the Philip Solo boxing career is right around the corner?
Are we gonna fight?
No, like guys, I'm just saying I have like some clout. That's all I was trying to say. But No.
That's just the end of the story. End the podcast right now. So I was talking to Conor McGregor's manager.
We should end it there.
You ended it.
Oh my god.
And that's the scoop.